Welcome to my introduction to the iMacros plugin for Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. This is a basic introduction where I will go over some of the features of the iMacros plugin and then show you how to build your first basic iMacros plugin. Uh, the download page for the iMacros plugin is at wiki.imacros.net/community editions. And if you go there, you'll see a link that will point you to each page for each individual add-on. And you will need to be in that particular browser when you navigate to these pages to install the add-on. And then once the add-on is installed, you'll have to restart your browser to have the settings take effect. I'm not going to go into the download because pretty much it's a very simple process. All the default settings are left alone. You just click next, 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 and let it install itself, restart your browser, and then when the browser reloads itself, you will suddenly see a new little iMacros icon on your toolbar. And right now I have my browser window with the iMacros toolbar open, but I can shut it down and open it back up. And some of the really good things that iMacros can be used for is repetitive tasks. Some of the things I use it for every day is logging into websites. I have to monitor different things, and I have 4 to 6 websites that I use every day. So being able to use iMacros to record my name and password and navigation through the website comes in very handy. It does record all your keystrokes and mouse clicks, although there are some limitations and there may be some tweaking to be done sometimes to get the iMacros to run on certain websites. But overall, it does a very good job at recording your keystrokes and replaying those keystrokes. So some of the more advanced features, which I won't be covering in depth today, are that you can go in there and edit your iMacros so that you can take out unnecessary steps, or you can signal the iMacros to stop and wait for you to put in some data, or you can have it wait for a certain amount of time. You can insert timers, or you can have it stop at a certain point, and the iMacros can record almost any action done within a web browser. So if you're filling out a form, or if you're trying to copy and paste data from a form to a file, it can do that. Like I said, it can copy data to a file, it can read data from a file and post it into an input box or a form on a web page. So iMacros can, the free edition for the plugins for your web browsers, can read data or write data to a CSV file. And you can think of a CSV file as a very basic Excel spreadsheet. So you can either read or write data to a file to be looked at later. The additions for Chrome and Firefox can actually be taken a step further, where you can create a shortcut on your bookmark toolbar for quicker access. So you don't actually have to open up the iMacros control panel to launch one of your iMacros tools. You can create a shortcut on your toolbar, click it, and it will launch from your toolbar without having to actually go through the extra steps. There is a full version of iMacros that can build standalone executable files, so they will run independently of the iMacros creation program. So you can build an iMacros and give it to someone as executable and run it. They can just double click on it, it will launch, and it will do some more advanced functions. But that version is not free. It's several $100s. Depending on how many licenses you want, it can run into over $1,000. But it does allow much more advanced scripting and supports many languages. It supports Microsoft.NET, ASP.NET, C#, Java, and it can call API functions. And it can also read and write to databases, unlike the free versions, which can only write to basically to a text file. So I'd like to show you the actual program and how it works. Let me minimize this. And let me move over to my website for demonstration purposes. Looking at the control panel, you'll see quite a few demo iMacros that come pre-built. Every one of these that say demo on it were ones that came preloaded, so you can actually run them against websites that are on the iMacro site, and they can demonstrate how different things can work. All these that you see with the A's and stuff, I had to, in order to keep them at the top of the list, I had to put A's, and I put the A's in the title by the order in which I use most of these things, but it does list them in alphabetical order. So as you can see, underscores take precedence in the hierarchy, and then numbers, and then letters. So if you want to create a macro that you can keep at the top of the list and not have to look down here and search, just either begin the title of the iMacros with underscores or numbers, or in this case, the letter A. And as you can see, there are some other ones down here where I was practicing before, like on logging into different web pages. Those were just tests. I did never wind up using them. They may have become part of an iMacros later on. So anytime that you record an iMacros, you use the center tab here for recording. It does have a play tab, so if I were to choose like the current iMacros, this is where it stores anything that you're recording at the moment. You can just click on play, and it will launch the iMacros. It doesn't matter which one of these, it will play any of these as they're highlighted. You can only play one at a time though. If you want to repeat the iMacro, you can set your numbers in here. If I wanted to loop through 20 times, I could have it do that. So it will replay the exact same steps up to 20 times in this case. And you click on play loop. If you click just on the play button, it will run one time. It will warn you that you have attempted to launch an iMacros that was set up for looping, and ask you if you want to play the loop or if you just want to play it one time. Now moving over to the record tab, when you begin to record your iMacros, you do click on record, and it will start copying your keystrokes and mouse clicks. Then once you have recorded, you can click on save, and it will allow you to save your iMacros and name it. There are some further options down here, like recording options, saving a page as, taking a screenshot, deleting the cache and cookies, but those are more advanced features which are not going to be part of this introduction. And then there's the third edit tab, which actually lets you bring up the highlighted macros so you can actually edit it line by line. So I'm going to start out first by creating a macro. Click on record, the record tab, and then click on record. Now one of the things you have to think about when you start these is the first thing the iMacros is going to do is ask you, do you want to close all tabs? And then once you've chosen whether or not you want to close all tabs, it will record the screen that you're on. Like for example, I'm at rskiles.com. If I had meant to actually start on my login page, I would actually have to type that in first, like this. And let the page load. And then click on record to start the recording. If you like to have your iMacros really neat and tidy, then you would want to go back and delete the unnecessary lines, like if I had started recording before I was on the correct page. It has loaded up my WordPress login page, but I would like to blank this out, because if I were to start recording now and just hit login, it would only record the keystroke for login. It would not record my username and password. I actually have to click in the box, put in my information, then click in the next box. And when I click to the second box, it records what's in the first box. And then when I put in my password and click login, it will record my password. So let me click in the open area so that nothing is highlighted and start recording. And as you can see, would you like to close all tabs before recording? And what this means is that when you launch the iMacros after you've completed it, when you run it again, like for example, if I were to click this reservations iMacros shortcut here, or run any of these, it's going to shut down any extra tabs, like this first tab I left open for showing you the links to the download pages. So in many cases, I don't want that. I like to have many web pages open at the same time, and so I have multiple tabs across the top of my browser, and I don't like to shut them down. So I always tell it, no, I don't want it to close all the other existing tabs, because I don't want to lose all those pages and any data that I may be looking at. So as you can see, the first thing it recorded was URL go to, and this is my login page, which is the same as what's in the browser up here. I put in my username, and when I hit tab, or in this case, instead of hitting tab, I'm going to use my mouse button so you can see what's happening on the screen. And as you can see, up here where the username was, we now have a new line. It says tag position 1 type input text. And if I scroll this out far enough, you can't, this is information it pulled off the web page, so it knows where the position of this box is and what designates this box. So if I were able to see the whole path, it would finally say username and Joe Saint at somewhere in this line of script. See, let me erase that out. And as you can see, it pulled the password form field out, and here it would eventually show my password, but I erased it. So let me put it in again. I believe that's the correct password. And if I were to click login, I did not use the right password. Let's try a different one. And that one's wrong too. And login. And it let me in. So as you can see, I put in multiple passwords and it recorded every one of them. And that's something I would want to go back into here and edit out when I finish my recording, so that it would not try all this stuff when I actually ran the recorded iMacros, because it's going to do exactly what's recorded in here. It's going to, at this point, if I were to stop it and save this iMacros and then run it, it would open up a tab. It would go to this URL, which is my login page, WordPress-admin page. It's going to put in my username. In this line tells it my username. It's going to ask for the password, or it's going to pull the password out of this line. So at some point along here, there's going to be the password is actually going to be written in here in clear text. And it's going to click the login form. And it's going to tell me that on the web page that the password is incorrect. Then it's going to go to the next line. It's going to try it again. It's going to change the password that's in the password field, and it's going to click the ID form again. And once again, the web page is going to tell me that I used the wrong password. And then this final time, it's going to put in the password again and click on the submit button, and it's finally going to let me in. One of the key things to remember about this is that if there is an error anywhere along the way here, for example, if I were to click the password field and put in the password, and the web page went to a different page to tell me saying, oops, you have put in the wrong password, click back to get back where you were to put your password in again. These password, it's going to try to put these user passwords in again on the same web page. And it's going to encounter an error. So this iMacros will time out and just die. It will not continue. So if it does exactly what you taught to do, it is not a very intuitive program. It will not skip lines if there is an error. It will just die. So let me stop this macros. And I would like to go into it and edit it. And as you can see, these are my passwords, and they will not stay this way. Once I'm done with this macros, I will be changing those. But I do know that these first two passwords are wrong, and you will want to delete those lines, and that's all it takes. And you can save and close the iMacros. Now in this case, I would want to rename it, because anytime you start a new macro, this is where it's going to be saved. So if I were to start recording a new iMacro right now, then everything that I had in the current macro will be deleted. So I'm going to click on rename, and I'm going to change it. And click on rename. Now once I shut this window down and reopen it, the name of my macro falls within the alphabetical scheme, and it's down here at the bottom. So that is why I like to put dashes for macros that I use quite often, so they'll always be at the top. And as you can see, it's up here at the top. So let me log out of my site here, and let's run the macro and see how it functions. And it will show you the lines, and it will show you as it goes through each line. It is right now, it's trying to load the page up. And you can see how quickly it jumped through each one of the stages. It just popped my username, user password, and clicked login so fast that you really couldn't even see it happen. And the delay was simply waiting for this page to load. In this section, I would like to show you just how easy it is to create one of these really handy bookmarklets that you can have on your toolbar that will allow you to launch through your iMacro quicker than having to open and close the control panel for iMacros. And it's pretty simple. You just right click on the macro that you would like to bookmark and click on add to bookmark. And this is checked by default. And to find it, you go up to your Bookmarks toolbar, click on Bookmarks. The easiest way I found to find it is to go to Recently Bookmarked, and there it is. And this is, by default, is put into your main bookmarks list. And I prefer mine to be up here on the toolbar where I have everything handy. So to move it up there, simply left click on it, hold your left click button down and drag it to the bar till you see the little triangle appear, and then you just place it on the bar wherever you would like it, and boom, there it is. You can shut down the toolbar and run that. And as you can see, I've changed my password, so I can't log in anymore using the macro, but I could go into the macro, edit it, and change the password, since the passwords are saved in clear text. Save the bookmark, and it will be ready to run. One other thing I would like to show you is how it works for me in Internet Explorer. I have several pages I visit on a regular basis, and to save time when seconds do really count, when I'm trying to fix certain things happening in my video conferences, I keep all these tabs open so that I can jump from tab to tab and monitor the video conferences. See, for example, let me log out of this page and show you just how quickly I can log in. Now, unfortunately, Internet Explorer does not allow iMacros to be stored up here on the bookmark shortcut, so you do have to open up the control panel. And as you can see, it's the same control panel as in Firefox, and I have one set up as my login. So you run it, and I forgot that I had to start at the login page, and as you can see, that's how quickly it lets me log in, and I'm back in. I don't have to worry about fat fingering my username and password to get back in, because as I said many times, I need to get in there as quick as possible to rectify whatever has gone wrong. And I have these shortcuts set up to log in to all my different equipment interfaces so that I can either add or drop people to the conferences, or I can check out the status of my recordings. And I even have these set up so that I can punch in and punch out of our time clock. I don't want to do those right now because I can't correct that. If I punch out right now, I'll be punched out, and HR will give me a call and say, hey, why did you punch in and punch out 5 times today? So just wanted to show you very quickly how it works and how convenient it can be in any browser. Let me slide this back out of the way. And I believe that is the end of the introduction to iMacros. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you utilize this tool to make your life much easier.